It should be good. Hello. Pretty nice weather we're having, or at least it's bright out, and it looks really nice when there's like a white wall behind me because it reflects all that light. So I have been asked a few questions like over the course of me starting to show what I'm doing in terms of knitting, and I've been gathering them up. Some of them obviously have answered along the way, but I feel like it'd be nice to just like sit down and sort of answer everything that I've had on my mind or people are curious about. And I've broken them down into two sections, I guess. One of which is going to be personal knitting related questions, and the other one is going to be my best attempt at answering all kinds of I don't know, beginner friendly questions, I guess. I get a lot of questions asking where to start with knitting, what to buy, what thing to knit first, which for everyone can be very, very different. Like, I know people who've started knitting a scarf or a swatch, and I know people who've started knitting with like a full-on sweater and they have like zero problems with it, and they just pick it up and they start reading the pattern. It's just peaches. So yeah, that'll be a later coming video because I do need to research more of it and sort of like compile a list of a lot of things that might have helped me along the way and things that I still use. But for the most part, I feel like a good intro to all of this would be questions relating to my knitting, questions relating to what I like to do, and yada yada, basically. And since this won't be a knit and chat unless I knit, I am going to work on this sock, which is the second sock of this pair here, which is I'm holding 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, double like this, and knitting along. I've shown you this in the previous video, so I'm not gonna explain too much. If you wanna know more about these socks, go watch the previous one. So I have the second one here. It's pretty much just mindless knitting for like a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna get through like, you know, the decreases or anything in the time span. Like, I talk too much. I don't think I'll have the time to also knit. This is curious for me too. I want to find out if I actually can knit and chat at the same time, and try and answer stuff. So yeah, where do we start? So there's no rhyme or reason or order to how these were asked. I just like sort of combined them to the 2 graphs. One of them are personal, the other ones are not so much. And I'm gonna start with the first one, which is, what is your favorite thing to knit? So it's so hard. If it was me prior to September last year, I'd probably say sweaters. And I kind of still want to say sweaters, but like sock knitting has taken so much of my like capacity, so much of my mind, so much of how I view knitting right now. I love knitting socks, but sweaters, I think if I have to like really pick the one thing I want to knit for the rest of my life, it'd probably be sweaters. Sweaters take a long time, and I'm very much someone who wants to see the object finished as soon as possible to realize my idea of it. I often change patterns a little bit or tweak them to my liking. So when I start knitting a sweater, I try to like go through it as quickly as possible, even though I do have sweaters that are just like a process kind of thing. Like I just enjoy working through them. Most of my sweaters are sweaters that I want to see knit immediately. And I do want to say that my favorite thing is sweaters, simply because it has so many variations. It has so much room for experimentation and creating all kinds of like different garments like that and constructions. So I want to say sweaters, but socks are like the second best. Socks are the thing that I'm glad that I've learned how to knit, because I want to be, I don't know if you can see me knitting. I am knitting, I'm not cheating here. Socks are the thing that I like carrying around, and I'm glad that they're super mobile like that. Sweaters are not. I can't lunge like half a kilogram of material and needles and need my lap at all times to like just place everything and be undisturbed or whatever. So yeah, if I have to choose, sweaters. Sweaters are my favorite thing to knit. Socks come in a close second. So yeah. Then I have another question, which is, what has been your favorite thing you've ever knit? Oh boy. My favorite thing changes like so frequently. Like I I'm incredibly enamored with every new thing I make. So like this cardigan that I showed you last time, I've not taken this off. It's a good thing that I changed the other garment, but I have not taken this off for a whole week. I love it so much. It's so incredibly cozy. It just goes so well with all my other clothes, which was kind of the point. The point was to make a cardigan that would actually go well with my wardrobe. So I just like keep loving the most recent thing, unfortunately. But I do have a sweater that I feel really proud of making, which is a twig sweater, which isn't finished, but I have only one sleeve left to do. And that sweater, still to this day, whenever I look at it, whenever I take it out of the bag and like work on it a little bit, because it's a lot of color work on small needles, whenever I open it and I look at it, I'm like, wow, wow, you outdid yourself. Although it's nothing too, like, you know, amazing or thrilling or whatever. It's just a lot of labor of love kind of thing. And I'm super happy with the colors I picked, and I'm super happy with how it's turning out. So that's like the one sweater that I have to say is like my favorite thing I've made. But obviously I might be forgetting. Oh, yeah, I am forgetting something. I loved making my fox toy, which was called Frankie the Fox, I think. I'm gonna link to it. I'm gonna maybe insert a picture of it somewhere. Frankie the Fox was incredibly fun for me to make, but I didn't enjoy the process. So I loved figuring it all out. I loved seeing how the construction would make it pop and come together, and the details in the ears and the nose, and like picking up stitches for like tail, blah, blah, blah. Very fun to make, but also kind of not. That I felt very proud when that thing was complete. Poor thing got eaten by moths though, so he went through a lot of patchworking. I shrunk him down in the washing machine to close up the holes. It was a whole thing. But that fox and the twig sweater, I have to say, are the things that I'm remembering most fondly. And I'm like, wow, you really outdid yourself. Just chef's kiss. Anyway, enough about that. Another question I have here is, what is your favorite yarn to knit with? So how do I structure this? I don't like bulky yarn at all. I hate bulky yarn, I can say. It cramps up my hands. I don't enjoy working with it. I don't enjoy the fabric that comes out of it. Like, I get that it was a big thing, and it maybe still is, and it's like a huge statement piece. And I've even knit with like plenty of like bulky weights, but it's not a thing I like. And the more I knit, I realize that the thinner the yarn, the smaller it becomes. It's way more versatile, and I love versatility. So anything that sticks around a DK weight or a sport weight is something that I love for sweaters. And obviously you do fingering for socks. But I'm also learning that I love fingering weight yarn because you can just hold it double. You can just use it for whatever you want to use it, as a thin yarn for thin garments. And then if you want to bulk it up, if you want to make it a DK, you just hold double. I love that. If I have to pick one type of yarn to work with throughout my whole life, that's like the theme of this, like the one thing you're gonna pick and you're gonna stick with. If I have to pick one yarn, it is probably going to be a fingering weight yarn. And I love yarn that has some sort of like either silk or nylon or linen content aside from the wool. I don't know why. I just, in my mind, I'm kind of like, oh, it's gonna be more durable, or if I accidentally throw it in the washing machine on the woolen setting, it isn't gonna shrink, something like that. And that's my process. Maybe I'm like completely wrong. To be fair, I have not washed other than that one sweater that my mom shrunk. I haven't washed any other fully woolen sweater in the washing machine, so there's that. So yeah, I have to say my favorite yarn has to be that, and it has to be tweed. If it's gonna be the last yarn I'm gonna use from that. I love tweed. I love little specks. They're so cute and magical. They make me so warm and fuzzy inside. I can't get enough of tweed. I have like yarn that I've bought that's tweed, and I just look at it. I don't even attempt to knit anything with it. I'm not knitting, by the way. Knit and chat, and I'm just chatting. So yeah, if it has to be something, it's probably gonna be a fingering weight yarn, and it has to be tweed, and it has to have at least 50% wool in it, and that's my favorite. If the question was more in terms of what's your favorite like yarn brand or like a specific skein or something like that, or a bowl, I have to say I like the soft tweed by Drops a lot. I do like working with it, not the most, but I do enjoy how it feels. It's super soft. It looks really cozy. It works up a really nice fabric. So yeah, soft tweed by Drops. I mean, I haven't tried a lot of yarn in my life, so I can't really speak from experience. Well, I am speaking from experience, but I can't speak for, you know what I mean. Like, I'm kind of new to this. This is what I've tried. I like the soft tweed by Drops, basically. So yeah. There's another question here that's maybe kind of relating. Now I'm gonna answer it later. So the next question that I have is, what is your needle size preference? And again, if it's for sweaters, a 4mm needle. I don't know the US measurements, so sorry about that. I have to convert it yourself. But I love 4mm needles the most, and 3.5. Like, so 3.5 to 4, perfect. Everything there is really, really great. If I have to use 5 for something, I won't be too like upset about it. I will use a 5mm as well. Like if it's like a held double sort of project that requires like a fingering and mohair. I just find that that sort of like fabric that comes out of it is best worked on bigger needles, even if it's not extremely mandatory, but it'll make like a just very fluffy light sweater. So yeah, 3.5 to 4 favorite. I will work with 5. I obviously work with small needles for socks and stuff like that. I can't say they're my favorite. That's kind of how you work socks. You don't want your sock to be extremely bulky unless it's just a home sock. So yeah, that's my answer to that. And we're getting to the embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing, but like I feel embarrassed about it a little bit. Somebody asks, what is a technique you don't like, struggle with, or intimidated by? And for me, that is cables. And actually, I've said it before, but I also am not a big fan of intarsia. Like, I love intarsia, but I'm not a big fan of doing it. So cables, I've actually never done cables. I have done swatches of cables, and it's not that scary. Like, it's just, you just hold some stitches on the back and the front, and then you just twist them around and knit them. Pretty easy, right? I don't know why I'm so scared about it. Like, I want to make myself some cable sweaters or cardigans or incorporate something like just in a like a seam somewhere or a detailing. And I'm just so fucking terrified of cables. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm gonna forget about one of the cables, forget to switch it around, and then that's it. Project's ruined. I'm gonna be knitting like 20 centimeters and only then find out, and I'm gonna be like, well, look at this. I have to undo the whole thing. Cables are not for me. I just feel like they take a lot of concentration, and I often don't have it because I'm always watching like some sort of movie or series or a YouTube video, and I'm always paying attention to 2 things at once, and I don't think cables are in my capacity. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll feel differently. I mean, I felt differently for colorwork sweaters. I was really intimidated by them. I was really scared to give it a go, especially on smaller needles. And yet, you know, like, live and learn. And the urge strikes me sometimes, and it's more powerful than my fear. So hopefully that. Now about intarsia. Well, how do I feel about it? I still feel like it's a big hassle. I love the outcome every time. Like, everyone who's made anything with intarsia just looks so good, but I don't like doing it myself, man. I've tried it too many times, like to no avail. I just can't fall in love with the process. I really, really dislike it. So yeah, that's my struggle, and that's my intimidated part. Techniques. Honestly, whenever I have to purl three stitches together, I mean, it's not a technique, but it's like something I struggle with. Whenever I have to purl 3 stitches together and then maybe like wrap around and like make 3 new stitches from the 3 that I've had, I get a really crampy thumb, and I don't like that. So it's kind of like a technique that I'd rather not do, but sometimes it's necessary if you want to make a lace detailing or something, which I really like. So yeah, I think that's all for that, honestly. I have a question here that says, what are your favorite YouTube channels? Like, I'm guessing knitting related. I have to say, I watch a lot of them. I'll probably list a whole bunch below. But the ones that I'm the most excited about every time they come on, every time like a video pops up, are the videos done by Bethany from Well Loved Knits. Right? Everyone pretty much knows her, but to the ones that don't, she's extremely cute. She has like a very calming, soothing voice. She has a lot of great tips for knitting. I've learned a lot about patterns and fabrics and the like. And she's a young mom, so I love listening to her. about like what the beginning stages of motherhood are like. Overall, very very sweet and caring seemingly person, and I really enjoy her. And in the same vein, I like Carson, I believe. Her channel is called Carsley Handmade, and she's also a young mom, and she's also extremely fun to listen to. She has a very sort of cheeky, playful tone to her voice, and I really like. I think she was one of the first people that I got very inspired by to start knitting socks, because I just randomly encountered her video and she was just like getting into socks at the time or something like that, and I was like, I need to be on this bag market. And I just picked it up after that. No regrets, obviously. So yeah, these are my two warmest recommendations that I can give you. Obviously, I have a lot more. Ancestral Craft is also someone that I really, really enjoy listening to. But the rest that are not coming to me right now, because everyone has like me, like a random. Oh, that's not random, but kind of like a specific to them title, and I don't remember them all. I'm just gonna all list them underneath. So go through that list, and hope you find someone new to listen to. Someone more coherent than me. So anyway, what else do I have here? Let me scroll through. Oh, I have a question here that's where do you buy your yarn in the Netherlands or when you visit other places? So I live in the Netherlands technically, like on paper. I'm registered in the Netherlands. I have my business registered in the Netherlands and my address. However, I physically do not live in the Netherlands at the moment. I live in a border, on the border with Germany. So it's like I'm technically in a German household, but the border is like splitting the town like right in the middle. It's really goofy. It's really fun for me that I get to say I live like on the German side of this one town. So I order online. I barely ever visit physical stores. That is because there's nothing near me that I wanna, like, I don't want to go to Zeeman, which doesn't really sell much yarn. I do pick up some yarns from like a German store called Cody. Like they sell some sock yarn from time to time. If I need something, I might just go look around. But I don't have any physical stores that I want to visit. But I do have some stores that I have bookmarked, and I'm gonna also link them below because I can list them all. I have a really favorite one in Germany, which is called Wooltraum, I think. I love the owner. I've bought yarn from her before. They have a really big assortment in the web shop, so there's a lot of stuff to pick and choose from. And I have only actually bought, I believe, yarn from the Netherlands from one store, and it was last year. I got like a project for the Tiger Lily show. I got like all of the yarn from there, and it's a recycled yarn. And the store is called Vive Handmade. They don't carry a lot of different yarns, but they do have Knitting for Olive, and they do have the Kremke wool, which I wanted, which is that recycled yarn. It's like pretty thick, it's pretty big, but it's gonna be for a big shawl. So I would recommend that one. I really enjoyed it. So I made a mistake, I think, in my order. I don't know if I listed the house number, and I messaged the owner, and she was really quick and really helpful, and I felt really happy to, like, it's nice to shop smaller than like just say like the hobby store. Not that I'm dissing on the hobby store, but I just prefer shopping with a small like a single or a small family business like that. I am a small business myself, so it's really sweet to be able to help out people if they have a problem, and it's also really flattering that people would pick from like the little guy instead of like a giant web shop. Everyone has a preference. So yeah, I'm gonna list a few more, I think, that I've bookmarked. I've not shopped from them yet, but there are stores that I have like my sights on. If I ever choose to try out a different yarn, I might, you know, use them. A couple of them which are in the Netherlands, but I believe there's so many. Like the way that I look at or look for yarn is I usually have a yarn in mind that I want to try, and I just type that out in Google, and then I type Netherlands in my case, or in your case, whatever you want, like Belgium, France, doesn't matter. You type that out and you see what kind of web shops you get. Go through them, compare prices, I guess, compare shipping, see if they have anything else that you might like. Like sometimes I need a couple of needles or some notions or something like that. And that's pretty much how I choose. I just try them out. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with any shop I've ever purchased from. Like, even if there is something like it gets damaged, like people replace it. People are kind to their clients, like they want to make business, so it makes sense. So yeah, those are my recommendations, I guess, for searching, and I'm gonna link the rest below. I actually have tea. Let me like take a sip or something. I've been talking for like 20 minutes non-stop. Maybe I'll like insert a footage of something else here and then like just start another video so that my camera can handle it. Hey, look, I have a question about knitting here. About knitting socks, actually. Someone says, I'm curious about the logistics of knitting socks. I've made quite a few over the years, and I realized that I despise working with 5 double-pointed needles. I do too. I've never actually knit a whole sock with 5 double-pointed needles, but just struggling with the 2 at the end to shape the toe and the heel is enough. I don't want to know any more than that. And then they continue saying, you seem to use tiny cable needles, and yeah, I do. What is the length of it, and is it comfortable to use on socks with such a small circumference? So for me, this is the only way I like knitting socks. I use a pair of circular little needles. I think these are 9-inch red cable needles by Chiaogu. These are 3.25. I accidentally bought them. I wanted 3 millimeters, but they sent me to 3.25, and I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna send them back. I'm gonna find use for them anyway. They are not the most comfortable. It takes getting used to. It took getting used to for me as well, and I can like know without hiding anything about it, I have to say that they do cramp me up a little bit. But this is the most comfortable way that I have of knitting socks. Not this particular pair, but the 2.5 millimeters are the most comfy, and the fabric that comes out of it is not incredibly heavy like this one is, and it doesn't weigh me down as I knit. So yeah, for me they work. Some people swear by them. I think I am one of those people. I think I like these the most for knitting socks. I don't think I will ever try Magic Loop again. It was really clunky. I did not enjoy it. And the other ones, the double points, I don't like them. I don't like, I get that those were the building blocks of knitting, but I don't enjoy them. And if you do, that's more props to you. For me, they're devil sticks. So yeah, in terms of if like the person asking or people who are curious about them, you really honestly just need to try. It's quite the investment because they're not very cheap. Like I mean, in terms of knitting needles, I guess they're fine. They're like around 10 bucks, I think I got mine for, or 12. If you get the size your most favorite size, I guess it will be fine to just like give it a whirl. Like everything, it will take getting used to. For me, it was like off the bat, I was really happy with them. To be fair though, my first ones were Adi, I believe. I had a 3 millimeter small circumference needle from Adi, and I didn't like it because it wasn't sharp enough. Like I like being able to pick the stitches, and the Adi ones are more round. So if you like the round ones, pick Adi. They also have a version of their small needles like this where your right hand one is much longer, so it's much more comfortable to hold. I haven't tried those out. I don't wanna because I'm comfortable with the Chiaogu. But if you wanna be sure that you have more comfortable grip on your right hand, or I'm guessing most people are right-handed, but I don't know how people who are left-handed knit, if they like do the opposite. No clue. Anyway, I would just suggest you buy it. Small investment, but in the worst case that you can't use them, if you don't like them, you can always sell them. Honestly, I keep looking through listings on like eBay and the sites like that to find used secondhand needles like these always. So I'm pretty sure you'll find someone to either sell them to, or I mean, I'm pretty sure you can return them within 14 days as well. Like this is not a product that is gonna go to waste anyway. Like as long as you keep the packaging well, I'm pretty sure you can just give it a try. I love them. I don't think I'm ever changing to something else. They're extremely comfortable to carry around as well because they don't stick out or anything. I just push my knitting like this, and then they crisscross, and no stitches ever fall out. I just like roll it up like into a small ball, put it in my bag, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that's a little bit of a promo there. Chiaogu, sponsor me, please. I love you so much. Chiaogu, my beloved. So yeah, that's that. And then somebody, I think it's the same person, also asked me, I'm curious about the lovely yellow pouch you have for yarn bows. I'm assuming you made it yourself. I'd love to make one myself, if you can link to a pattern or just give a closer look. So I've made a lot of pouches throughout my time sewing, basically. Almost all of them I use for knitting now, to store my knits. Let me go grab that infamous yellow pouch. So this is the yellow pouch in question. It's kind of goofy. It doesn't really close up very well, but it's great as a basket, and that's what I use it for. It's mostly like my big work in progress basket. I think I have a link to the video that I used to make this. Off the top of my head, I think it's Sewing Times or something like that. And the lady of the channel makes these really well described visual videos where she doesn't speak, everything is just listed on the screen. She shows you how big you need to cut of everything. She sews it. It's perfect. I love that channel so much. Keeps coming up with all kinds of great pouch ideas and bags and accessories. So warm recommendations. This is, I think, one of the first pouches that I ever made. The fabric that I used here for this is a fabric that I mistakenly bought. It's like all, it makes like a shish 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 noise. I don't know if that makes sense. It's coated with something. It's cotton that's been coated with something, so it's kind of like water resistant. And it works great for a pouch like this because it gives it so much structure. It doesn't like just collapse on itself. But I've made pouches like these as well. Like, I don't want to take them all out, unfortunately. Pouches like these, which are drawstring small pouches that I keep in my bag when I travel. I sometimes use them for my clothes as well. Like, I would put like undergarments in here, like roll up my socks and undies and stuff like that. Maybe too much information. Anyway, I make pouches like these as well, which are much softer and smaller, with just patchwork, drawstrings. These are more common. You can just look up a drawstring bag and you'll find them. But for the big ones like this, you will need a more in-depth tutorial, I guess you can call it. And this is my pride and joy. This one I've made myself, just off the top of my head, now that I know how most pouch constructions go by. It's, again, just a simple drawstring bag with the added little hoopy hoops here on the side to add this old strap, I guess, from like a bag. I've had it laying around. I don't know where it's from. I have no clue. Again, it has like the drawstrings on the side because I do want to be able to sort of quickly close it. It doesn't close very well, especially when it has like all kinds of stuff inside. And yeah, it's just a simple patchwork. A lot of this was done with shirts, like thrifted men's shirts, like these stripes. They're really great fabric. If you don't have any fabric laying around, just go thrifting. Buy yourself a bed sheet, like an old bed sheet or a pillowcase. Buy yourself a tablecloth. Buy yourself some men's shirts because those are very tightly woven, and the fabric itself is slightly more stiff, and it's pretty good. Honestly, it's really nice to make stuff like this. And yeah, just try and make yourself some pouches. I actually make and sell pouches in my shop. They usually do sell out really quick, fortunately for me. And I release a few, like 10, 20 at a time every time I open my shop. So if you don't have a sewing machine, if you don't like sewing, maybe you can keep an eye out for that. But other than that, I will link the lady that I mentioned earlier below. And yeah, I hope that helps. And it's been a good 30 minutes of me rambling about it. I hope this was enjoyable. I still have the other questions, which are mostly the helpful tips, I guess, the things that don't relate to me as much, to do. I will try to be more concise with them. I will try to be more prepared because this was off the top of my head. Like, I just have the questions written down, and I have like a key point, like, where do you buy yarn? This last shop you bought from. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I think I will stop here. I will show you how much I've knit, honestly. So here's the sock. I have knit almost, like, I have like a couple more centimeters here. And I have knit, I want to say like 4 or 5 rows in this knit and chat. So it was up to here. And that's how much I knit. It's fine. I'm not doing this to speed through it. I just wanted to sit down and have a bit of a talk and make use of the nice bright day. And yeah, I hope you got to know me through this a little bit. I don't know. We learned that I I jump all over the place with these questions. But yeah, I hope you you got something out of this, and if not, I hope you just enjoyed my company and I enjoyed yours. And yeah, talk to me below. And I guess I'll see you next time with more progress pics. I've been working on a... No, I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, next time you'll see what I'm working on. You'll see what I've made so far. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day and talk to you some other time. Bye!